it is a simple concept of what we call as the inheritance, right? So this is simply what we understand from the inheritance. Uh, we have some base class, and some classes are going to inherit the properties of the base classes. So how we are going to represent that particular relationship using UML, that is what we call a generalization. Generalization is something we have some entities, and or you can think it about the childs, right? We have different number, different children, child 1, child 2, child 3, so on. But all these childs are being associated with the parent only. So this is something what we call the parent-child relationship, right? So generalization, we can visualize it in terms of this uh, inheritance type of concepts, right? So if we'll see this, how we are going to draw this particular generalization, then see this particular diagram. See, we have one class, that is my trip class, right? Having some attributes and having some functions, right? And one child class we have created is the business. That trip can itself be a type of business trip, or it can be an education trip, right? So, but both business trips and education trip is going to inherit some of the properties and the these functions from the my trip class. So this is basically what we understand from generalization is what we call as an inheritance, right? So inheritance representation is something what we call as this particular generalization, right? So this is how we are going to represent this particular generalization in the UML. This triangle form and solid line, right? This is how we are going to represent this as a generalization. Okay. Now, so coming to the very important topic, that is how we have to visualize the interaction between the objects. Okay, we have created the classes. Now we want to see how these objects, whatever the object that we have created, how they are going to interact with each other in a sequential way. How they are going to interact with each other in a very sequential way. So in order to visualize, in order to see these interactions and later on code that, we need some type of diagrams, and these diagrams is what we call the sequential diagrams. So sequential diagrams are basically the showing the interaction between the different objects of the classes in a sequential way, right? How this in the previous example we have created some objects, we have created some classes, and we created some objects, and now when this particular class this particular program will run, how these objects will interact with each other, how we are going to represent those things. So for that we need a special type of diagram that we call as the sequential diagrams, right? So let's see this sequential diagram now. Dependency we have already discussed, right? This dependency we already discussed. If a class is having some method, and these methods is going to take the parameters that is the reference from the other class, that is what we call the dependency. Okay, and now coming to the sequential diagram. Okay. So let's try to understand one code, and later on we'll try to draw the sequential diagram for this. Here, please see this. Here we have three classes. Let me clear this. Here we have three classes. One is the interface class, one is the teacher class, and one is the user class. Right? One is the user class. Three classes we have. The interface classes contain the main method, through which we are going to create the objects of the class user and the object of the class teacher. Right? Now in the class teacher, we have two instance variables, and we have one method, that is view user data. Now please understand the sequence. First try to understand this code. If you try to understand this code, later on we are going to draw how these objects are going to interact with each other. But first try to understand this particular, what this particular code is doing, and how the objects are created, and which particular object is interacting with which particular class or which particular method, in what sequence. Right? So in the particular teacher class, we have two instance variables, and one is the method, and this particular method is going to take again a object, again type of variable which is of class type user, right? This is the scenario, right? And inside this particular view user, I am going to, using this particular object, I am going to call this particular get info method. And where is this particular get info method? Where is get info? Because this obj is of class user type, right? This object is of the user class. So this get info obviously will be inside this user class here. We are calling this particular method here. So this particular view user detail, we are calling this. And whenever we are calling this particular get info method, this particular check, one method, again we are going to call this check method, and it is going to perform some logic. It is going to perform some logic, right? This particular check method is going to perform here its logic, and then whatever the return, we are going again coming to this particular line number here, if, and again I am executing something, I am performing some logic here, and then I am going to fully execute the method get info. And once this is finished, now I am coming to this particular line, right? And when this particular is finished, then again I am going to coming to this particular line. Now once again clear all drawing. Now again try to see this code and try to understand how this particular code will run. This is visible to everyone? Yes, Nikhil? Siddhant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. Now see, here we have created three classes. One is the interface class, one is the teacher class, and one is the user class. Inside the user class, we have created one constructor. It is going to take its parameters, right? Now, first we'll try to understand the sequence first. Then we are going to create the sequential diagrams for the object interactions, right? So what will be the sequence? Through the main, we always run through the main. We always start from the main. So now, when this particular line number 6 is executed, line number 6, what line number 6 is doing, Samarth? Yes, Samarth. Samarth. So whenever this line number 6 is created, this is creating the object of the user class. This object obj1 is created for the user class, and this constructor is initialized. This constructor of the user class is initialized with some parameters, right? So whenever this particular object 1 is created, the user class, this user constructor get values from the local variables, and all the instance variable get initialized. So whatever the name, registration number and phone number, they get initialized, whatever the parameters we have sent from here to at this particular method, this constructor, right? This particular constructor. So all these variables get initialized. This is the first thing that is done, right? So up to this point we are finished now. Then second, we have created an object for the which class? Teacher class, obj2. Are you following this, Siddhant, Nikhil, Keshav?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we have created the object number 2 for the teacher class. So again, that this particular constructor is called this particular. Although we have not created any default constructor, so this particular only object is created here, obj2, right? So like this particular line number 7 is also finished now. Then using the obj2, that is the object of the class 2, we call its method. This particular method is now called, right? And it is going to take some arguments. This is going to take the object of the class type user. And using this, when this particular method is called, so whenever this particular method is called, it is going to call this get info method of the class user. So from here, we are coming to where? This particular get info, right? Okay. So this is the scenario. And then when this particular get info is executed, we enter into this, then this particular check method is encountered here. So when this particular check method is encountered, it is going to come to this particular method here. and it is going to finish its logic, right? And then again it is going to return back at this particular point. Now after this we are going to execute this line, this line, this line, and this line. And after finishing all these things, where we are going to return? We are going to return to this system.out println. And when this particular line is finished, where we are going to return? Where we are going to return? Yes, Nikhil, Akash. Where we are returning after this? After this line is finished. Line number 10 of interface class. Fine, fine route. So again we are going to return to the line number 10 of this. Already this is executed, so line number this one. Again we are going to call the delete method. Again we are going to call the delete method for what? This is object 1, using object 1. So object 1 is of user class. So we come to the delete method. So where is the delete method? Here is the delete method. Using this particular delete method, what we are doing? We are going to set the object of this particular class as null. So this should be obj1, right? Please correct it. This should be obj1. Okay, or fine, it is obj because object is already created in this particular class. So this, using this particular delete method, we set the object of this particular class as null. So we have deleted this particular object, right? So this is what we have done till now. And whenever this delete method is finished, we again go to this particular obj1 display. But already the object is already being deleted using this particular delete method. So this there is no use of the executing this particular obj1 display. So this is something what we have created, and this is something 3 classes we are given, and how the objects are created, how they are going to call some methods, and when these methods are get executed, and then again it is going to return back, and then again going to call the next line. So this is how the code is actually running, or whatever you understand that how the code actually running using the objects. Now how we are going to show all these things using this sequential diagrams. So where the sequential diagrams actually comes into picture, how these objects are created and how they are going to interact with the different classes, how we are going to represent those. So for that we need this sequential diagram. So let's have a look on this sequential diagrams now. For this particular example, we are just taking this particular snapshot, and for this particular code section, we are going to form a sequential diagram. Okay, now see. Okay, again we have shown separately those classes: teacher class, interface class, and user classes, right? Same code we have done. Now this is visible to everybody. Yes, this diagram is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now see, if you understood the code, then what we have done? See, in the sequential diagram, what we'll do, first we have to draw this particular rectangular box. So when we click on, I will give one tutorial on this, how we are going to draw this, but as of now, just understand that inside this rectangular box, we are going to write the object name, right? For the class interface, I am going to create one object. For the teacher class, I am going to create one object. So I call it as a class name with some small a. You can write anything, but it is a convention, right? So you can, in order to represent the objects of a particular class, this is how we are going to write. You just take the class name and put a small a in front of that. That becomes that it is, we are talking about the objects now. As of now, we are talking about the objects. We are not talking about the classes. We are not talking about the methods as of now. So these rectangular boxes actually represent the objects of the interface, object of the teacher, and the objects of the user. Now this thing is clear first. Okay. मुझे बताते रहा ब्रो, निखिल, आकाश, अमित.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what was the first line? What was the first line in the interface class? When main method got executed, what was the first line? The first line was that we have to create an object of the teacher. See this one. Clear all drawings and let me move to the code first. What was the first line? This was the first line, or you just reverse it because in a different sequence I have created. You just put the teacher above and user below. No problem, right? There will be no problem for that. Okay, so this particular teacher object is created, right? So after main is executed, this particular teacher object is created. Now this is how we are going to show this particular object creation using a sequential diagram. Is I think it is more visible. Yeah. Now, so using this particular dotted line with an arrowhead, for which I am going to create the object. I am going to create the object for the teacher. From where I am going to create this? I am going to create this object from interface class. So I am going to create an object for the teacher here. The first line will be the new teacher. New teacher here means that we are going to create the object for the teacher class. This thing is clear? Yes. So whenever we are going to create one object, this particular line will come, and it will the stereotype for this will be the create. So this create meaning that we are going to create the object for the teacher. So once this particular object is created, then again we will see what will happen. In the second line, what we have created? Again we have created a object. Again we have created an object for what? A user class. So again we are going to write this thing, object for the teacher class. Now see, when we have created, so one more thing that you can see is that this particular interface class is above and this is little bit below, and this is little bit below. So what does it mean? It means that first this particular interface class will get executed, and its object from this object is created for the teacher class. That's why we have shown little gap. Otherwise this will be at the same. So that's why we have shown some little gap. It means that from the interface class we have created some objects, and this particular object is for the teacher because it starts from the interface and it ends here on the teacher. And using this stereotype, we have created the new teacher. It means that in the interface class, we have created one object for the teacher. Similarly, from the interface class, we also created one object, that is create. Stereotype is the stereotype is the create, and one object for the user class, that is new user. And in this, we can also supply the parameters. In the user class, what we have supplied, that was the default constructor or parameterized constructor, right? So when we have created the object for the user class, we have used the parameterized constructor, and inside the parameterized constructor we have sent some values. So during object creation, we can also specify the data types of the parameters that we are going to supply when we are going to create the object for that particular class, right? Okay, up to this point it is clear? Manshu? Nikhil?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
for this we have created. Now again see, this is above and this is below. In fact, it is below to this also, teacher, because first this particular object is created and the user object is created. So this is little bit gap here. So now this is object creation. Now coming to the line number 3. Line number 3 is that we using object of the teacher. Using the object of the teacher that we have created, we called its method. We called its method. Which method? View user details. This method we have called. See this. Let me go to back. One moment. Where is the code? Here. See this. Now after creation of these objects, we call the view user detail. From the interface class, we are calling the view user detail. From the interface class, we are calling the view user detail. And where is the view user detail? It is inside the teacher, right? So how we are going to now one more thing. Let's understand here also. After we are going to call this, it is going to execute. it is going to execute this logic, and then this particular call. Now, please remember, please see this. This particular call is expecting a return message. This particular call is expecting a return message in the sense that after this, we have 1, 2. These two lines are also there. So in order to execute these lines, we should be sure that this particular message, whatever we have done at line number 10, whatever we have done at line number 10, it is successful. There is no error. So if there will be no error, then only we can execute the line number 11 and 12, 12 and 14. So it means that this type of messages, which are expecting a return messages, is what we call as the synchronized call. So whenever this particular method is called through its objects, then it is expecting a return message call, and such type of expectation, such a type of return messages is what we call as, it means that this particular view user detail method is a synchronized call method or synchronized message. In terms of the sequential diagrams, this calling is what we call as the message passing. We can call it the message passing, right? So this message passing is a synchronized type. Is it clear as of now? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now how will draw this? How will draw this? Let's see. Now this diagram, okay, fine. Here, all ones. Okay. Now, so we are sending a view user detail. Nikhil, where we are sending this view user detail?
Sir, to the teacher class.
To the teacher method.
Teacher method.
Right? Where this teacher method is declared inside this particular class. So we start from here. We expand this particular line, this message, and with this particular, when we are going to expand this particular message, it will fall here. Now it means that these dotted, now see this, these dotted lines, what these dotted lines are representing? This dotted line is representing the life of a particular class or a particular method or a particular object. Up to this particular time, this particular class object are available, or this particular class is available. So whenever we are going to stretch this particular line from this to this, it means that this particular is a method call which is defined in the teacher class, which is defined and declared, and logic is in the teacher class. So now we entered into the view user detail here in the teacher class and start performing some logic. Okay, at this particular we are start performing this logic. Now after some time what happens? Let us assume that we call this view user detail at time is equal to 10th second, right? At 10th second we call this. Then the 11th second we are executing some logic inside this. At 12th second we are executing some logic. Then 13th, then 14th. But at the 15th second, what will happen? At the 15th second, what will happen? See this. See the code again. Okay. So at the 15th second, what will happen? This particular object is called now. So let us assume after coming to this particular method, some lines are executed, right? And after that, this particular line is executed. So this particular line is execution, meaning now we are going to the user method. We are going to the user class. Inside the user class, this get info is declared or defined, right? So now the time spent in this particular execution of these lines is how we are going to represent this. How we are going to represent this time spent. This is how we are going to see this. Now, from this to up to this whole box, up to this point. This means that this is the time spent by the view user detail method after which it is going to call a new method. After which it is going to call a new method get info, which is where? Which is in the user class. So again, we are going to make a one arrow, one message passing. Up to this point, it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, whenever one more thing is that whenever we are calling this particular method, what we have specified. Okay, time limit, no issues. One moment. There is a message of time limit. Okay, now see. We have written a synchronized message. Yes, Nikhil, why we have Parangat, why we have written the synchronized message here? Yes, Rahul, Amit, Akshant, Anish, anybody?
Sir, the object we have created is returning something.
Yes, so because after view user details, we have two other messages are pending which need to be executed. After view user details inside the interface class, we have two other methods that need to be executed. One is the delete, right? So it means that when this method will get executed, only when this particular view user detail get executed successfully. So how we come to know that this particular view user detail is executed successfully? Only when we'll get a written message of success. Okay, fine, now it is successful. You can execute the next line. So that's why this particular message passing is a synchronized in nature, right? Again, get info. After get info, which line we have to execute? See, after info, get info, which particular line I have to execute? After this, I am going to execute this particular line. So in order to execute this line, how do I know that I have to execute this particular line? Up to this point, I have to be successful. Otherwise, there will be an error. If I am going to successful, it means that I am going to expecting some return from here. Whatever success message return. So when his success message return will come, then only I am going to execute this thing. Okay. So again, this particular get info method, this get info call or message is a synchronized in nature. Okay. Now then coming to so now there is the annotation code. There is now. So again, so let me ask you, Himanshu. Himanshu is there? Anish is there? Ayushi? Yes, Ayushi. Dipanshu? 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 Dipanshu, tell me up to this particular line, from this to this, what is, why we are stretching this line from here? Why we are not stretching this line from here only? Why this gap?
Because it will take a little bit this much time for calling the functions in this one.
Yes, fine. So Dipanshu is saying, sir, because this particular view user detail have to execute some lines. Maybe it is executing some lines, and after executing some lines, spending some time over these lines, we are coming to this particular get info method, and then get info method get executed. So that's why this particular gap. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपने ऐसे बना देना है कि सर ये स्ट्रेच कर देनी है लाइन और बस हो जाएगा. इनका सबका अपने आप में एक मीनिंग है, राइट? उस मीनिंग को समझते चलना है. ये डॉटेड लाइन ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएशंस के लिए है. ये लाइफ स्पैन दिखा रहा है पूरा इस तरह की लाइन से, पर्टिकुलर क्लास का पर्टिकुलर ऑब्जेक्ट्स का जो है लाइफ स्पैन है. ये सॉलिड लाइन जो दिखा रही है हमारे मैसेज पासिंग हो रही है, और ये क्योंकि हमारी मैसेज पासिंग सिंक्रोनाइज टाइप की है, मीनिंग रिटर्निंग टू एक्सपेक्टेशंस है, दैट्स व्हाई इट इज गोइंग टू रिटर्न एज अ, वी आर स्पेसिफाइंग दिस SYNCH, सिंक्रोनाइज्ड मैसेज. Again, we have one synchronization message at the get info that starts from this particular teacher class, because this object is this particular method is called from the teacher, and now we are at the user class. So inside the user class, let's come to the get info method. Where is the get info method? Let's see this. You can see this. This is the get info method. Can you see this get info method here? When it come here, it is going to execute some lines. You just assume here that it is going to execute this curly braces of some lines here. It means that it is going to take some time, and after taking some time, it is going to execute a method, check method. And whenever this particular check method is going to be executed, then again it come to here, and then again it is going to execute some lines. So inside a particular method, we have declared one more method, and then again we are going to perform the logic of this particular check method, and then we are going to successfully going to execute the get info method. So what does it mean? It means that this particular check method is a self method. This particular check method is a self method. Inside a particular get info method, there are some methods which are going to which should be executed in order to get the successful execution of the get info method. So how we are going to represent this particular notations? Inside the method, we have some methods, right? See this. See this thing here. When we come here at this point, we executed some lines, and then we encounter what? This check method. This check method is up to this point, here to here. It is going to perform its logic, and this check method is a self method. So how we are going to represent the self method? Meaning this particular method need to be executed in order to finish this whole block. What is this whole block for? This whole block is for the get info, right? So this particular check method is a self method. Self here we are calling a self method. Why? Because we need to complete it inside one method inside the another method that need to be completed in order to execute the execution of the whole method. So we put this particular line, this solid line with the filled rectangle, right? So this is what we call as the self method here. So when this particular check method gets completed, when it is going to get completed? Up to this point, Nikhil, it is going to execute. It is going to take some time.
Yes, sir.
After it is going to complete it, then again it is going to, we come to the next line, and whatever the part we are left in the get info that get executed. And after finishing this get info method, again, because we have specified that this get info method is a synchronized type of method. So what we are expecting? We are expecting a return call, success message. We are just returning from here to here. This particular line indicates definitely there will be some line after this get info method. So we successfully come to the successful execution of the get info method. And after this get info method, what lines are left? Here, what lines are left? Up to this point.
The print line.
Print line, yes, Akash, print line, fine. So after this, we have some lines. That's why we have some little gap here. So this particular gap, again, we have some little gap here. We have filled this, right? So this is probably this is for the system.println, right? And when this particular is get executed, we again got a success message that, okay, my view user detail is get successfully executed. Now we are at this particular line in the main method. So after this, which particular object get executed? See, we have 1 minute more. So let's finish this quickly. So after this, returning delete method. So we have successfully written here. So which particular method I have to call now? Delete method. Where delete method is? It is inside the user class. So now, and what this delete method will do? This delete method will delete the object of the class user. जो भी क्लास ऑब्जेक्ट बना होगा यूजर का उसको डिलीट कर देंगे. तो जल्दी से क्विकली डिलीट करते हैं. देखो, come to this one. So see, now again we have called one method, that is a delete method, destroy method, right? And this is a solid line. And after encountering here, it is going to execute the delete logic. And what delete logic is saying? delete the object. This particular arrow indicating now the object for the user class is permanently deleted from the memory. There is no object left. If there is no object left, then we cannot use it. This is the meaning. Are you following this? Yes, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Fine.
Yes,
So this is what we call the sequential diagrams, right? This is how we have to visualize our code in form of the sequential diagrams. So whatever the class diagram that we have created, for this you